Welcome to the Night of Champions review. We are the Dudley Boys of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened at Night of Champions. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review Night of Champions. Gents, what did you make of the show?
Right off the top, expectations were low. So I'm trying not to just say, well, better than expected, because I didn't expect a lot from this show. I like the card. I didn't think some of the criticisms of the card were necessarily in the best faith. It reminds me of people that just dip in and look at, like a bunch of 6 out of 10 wrestlers in some cases and just assume as a result, oh, that's rubbish, that looks rubbish. Whereas often it's in service of a story or a direction or whatever, and I can tolerate the rubbish wrestlers because there's a bigger picture to service. WWE as opposed to AEW when there's going to be more 8s and 9s sort of scattered across the card. So my expectations were low. That being said, I had a good time with the show. And not just based on those low expectations. And, as I said on the Raw preview that we did earlier on today, wherever you get your podcasts, it is the best I've felt about the directions within WWE, like as pertains to SummerSlam, and then what you can maybe forecast going into Survivor Series, probably since Elimination Chamber ended. It was impossible to get that vibe coming out of WrestleMania, because... That it? Like, it wasn't a great Mania.
What else you got?
Like, already, I would say, time has not been particularly kind to that Mania. The Raw after WrestleMania was pretty hot, surprisingly so, I would say, in the shadow of that WrestleMania. And then, since then, the Cena run has capped off most of these pay-per-views, and these matches have been turkerinos, and the run has looked... disastrous is the word I've used, and I think that's fair. In almost every promo and match, this Cena thing has gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And sort of out of nowhere, the main event was a bit of an uptick for me. Like, I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to get a better match out of John Cena than CM Punk. I don't think CM Punk, John Cena was particularly special. I watched it twice, and I will explain why when we get to it. But I got what I felt was the best out of this entire John Cena run within the body of that match. And again, because even lower than the expectations of the show, the expectations of John Cena to do anything good are somewhere down in hell. And because they somehow cleared that, I was sat there going, fair enough. I'm going to take a night off being angry at John Cena. And that's nice as well. It's nice to not feel cross. That I feel like the very top of these WWE shows are being, destroys to a harsher word, but they're being ultimately almost like hijacked by this terrible run. And for once, I came away from the show not feeling like that.
I mean, this was woefully uninspiring. The bars that were cleared on this show, at least the reception I saw online, I continue to not be able to fathom this hot streak, this hot period, what gets praised, what doesn't get scrutinized. The actual experience of watching this wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
Whoa.
it wasn't a great show. It was mediocre. There were elements of it that I thought, you know what, fair enough. And if I shut off the noise, which is difficult, we are all chronically online. We've spoken openly about this as like a self-criticism. If you can, it's sometimes impossible. I'm done with bloodline brain stuff. I cannot deal with it anymore. I just can't. We need a new direction. I'm starting to get the feeling as well, and again, I will recognize that I don't willingly follow a load of WWE forward-friendly accounts, so I can't get a true and accurate glimpse, if it's even possible to begin with, of the actual temperature. I saw a lot of, are we still doing this sort of thing in the main event? Is Triple H completely devoid of ideas of how to build his big matches and how to sort of arrange his big post-match angles? And I'm sick to death of this bloodline slop. Michael Cole will... I'll get to it.
Not for me. I liked it. I think this is my favourite Night of Champions ever. I had a really good time watching this. I just had a load of fun. It was a really fun show. I got all the right results from it. And then the main event was sensational in terms of John Cena's heel run.
The main event in particular, I had to watch twice. I went, by the way, I watched this with my kids, and I didn't check my phone once on account of them having a million questions all the time, as kids do when they're kind of half, 3/4 invested in a thing and you can be the font of knowledge or information or whatever. So there was a lot of conversation with them too, which was nice. Like there was an investment. It's predominantly around the stars. They were looking at their proverbial phones. It was iPad City Jones for a couple of these mid-card matches, and I couldn't blame them for it. But it's funny you mention that. I didn't. I snuck back onto Twitter on Friday night because I wanted to read anti-1975 Glastonbury tweets while I was enjoying that. So, I really like Glastonbury anger from people that just don't get something. But the wrestling, I took a breather, and I messaged you on WhatsApp just before the match started, but then really enjoyed it and thought, I'm wasting his and my time if I continue this. So, I did.
I was watching the Under-21 final.
Well, there you go. So you wouldn't have even seen it. I might have inadvertently spoiled it, and I don't know.
I was deliberately not checking, because I saw you tweet. You texted me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to check that because I'm going to watch it unspoiled after the Under-21 final.
But I did, yeah. I sort of was brimming with positivity at the end of this main event in particular, which I didn't expect because I was sort of dreading it, really. And some of it's a low expectation thing. I'm not shying away from that. Some of it is this John Cena run. I think we were talking about on Friday stage in the office. I am dreading this Cena Punk match. I think it's going to waste the B, and I never would have thought that. And this was the one.
Always had faith in the Punker.
Never
doubted him for a second.
One safe bet in the run, and I would personally, to my taste, argue that that's how this has played out. It's still, as a match, it was probably the one safe bet in the run. Yeah. He's not got, John Cena hasn't got something good. This was good at points, and he's not got something this good elsewhere for the
it's just the peak, and it was...
and it was a medium peak at best. And
they haven't done all that great stuff with the pipe bomb and the Punk life to get to this and then mess it all up.
We'll get to the Punk life, by the way. We will get to Punk life. Even if I do not get thrown to, I will bring it up apropos of nothing.
Still bringing
Don't
it up.
worry
It was
about
fascinating to see the response to the news we did this morning about that, because Andy was very vocal in his criticism of it, and I said I quite liked it actually, and a lot of people seem to be the same. There's this backlash regarding it, and I understand that, and I understand if it's not for you, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But then there's almost backlash to the backlash of...
I mean, people can have their opinions. I'm predisposed to quite enjoying CM Punk, I think. And I hated it. And I hated the week this whole...
You didn't like the pipe bomb either, did you?
No. I think it's been pretty
You're on the wrong
awful.
side of history on several things, really.
Apparently so. Well, he's shrugged now, so that's the argument.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I have lost.
I don't mind. So the thing is, we'll just a quick on the...
Should have do Punk life now.
Let's do Punk life. And the
But it preceded the show.
But because it's preceded the show, and then it's all going to be presumably over with. You sense that Punk is probably going to be glad to be free of this program at this point. I have said this a million times, and I think it always bears repeating because of what we've just experienced over the past 2 or 3 weeks of CM Punk. It never ceases to amaze me that a thing occurs and a bunch of people are disappointed by CM Punk the person for the first time. It's almost like this. Almost like I'm an old man in a rocking chair at this point, going, "It's your first time being let down by the Punker. Huh? Welcome to the club." It's like, I don't know, probably 2006, maybe 2000. I was like, "Oh, he seems like a bit of an arsehole. What a worker! What a fucking worker!" But I would never want to spend any time with him. We would not be friends. Put it like that. And I'm sure he would say that first of all of us and lots of other people.
Not me.
Maybe you.
Well, he's quote tweeted me in the past, so we are. I consider us friends.
Yes.
So.
Well, now, but you see, you're in a worse position because now if you do anything to remotely betray him in his mind,
But he's never let me down, so why would I do that?
Good point, well made. Yes, I can see.
Can we talk about Punk life?
I can see. Let's talk about Punk life. So as a result, my appreciation of CM Punk is always an immense one for the work. Like the matches, the promos, the everything. The cult of personality, the CM Punk, the lot. The gear, everything. And the magic of Punk in the original WWE run, where I really fell in love with CM Punk, Ring of Honor was always playing catch up, was how so much of his stuff was What?
No, it's be funny.
I had to say it after the fact.
Yeah, I know
like
what you mean,
it was-
Okay.
Ring of Honor wasn't easy to get hold of. It was like it wasn't as polished as TNA, so it wasn't as good. But like, I obviously don't mean that. It was so impressive to me in a WWE that I was watching, going, "This is trash." That he was coming out with good stuff all the time, program to program to program. He seemed to make his stories matter. He seemed to make his character shifts matter. And then when he clearly fell out of favor because he didn't wear a suit and the Undertaker beat him for the belt, going to respect the business, he was like, "You know what? I'm going to pretend to be Jesus and nobody's going to notice." That took some guts, and he got back over all the way over again. And then the matches with Cena were always amazing. It's like, my God, you have figured out a main event style in a way that keeps you connected to the work rate forum fans, of which I was still more one than not. He was everything. I just thought he was this like perfect WWE superstar for me, CM Punk. And obviously the pipe bomb proved that a bunch of people shared that feeling and emotion. And then, like, this is not like an abridged history of Punk as such, but in that period, you didn't need to really see gritted teeth Punk in AEW until Collision, really. And I love that. I was like, there he is, like working angry, working pissed off. This is not fixed. Go back and listen to the podcast. The problems haven't been fixed. They've been avoided in the form of a second TV show. Like, this is actively dodging the problem. And then I love Joe and Punk in the building next to Sidge, having a whale of a time. This is unbelievable. And I watch it back now and I love it even more from the second he walks out because he's got a smirk on his face because what's just happened backstage. And it's like, so all of this sort of stuff, it only impresses me more that he goes out and is him. The pipe bomb lying there, hopefully in as much pain as possible, and Punk life is the worst gritted teeth performance 1-2 punch of CM Punk's career. And that's where I can just criticize him as a worker, because the whole thing is, look at the things I have bought, because he is such a good salesman and he has failed to sell me these things. He failed to sell me that semi-stumble-bumble first promo on that Raw. Remember the first face-to-face with Cena? Where I was like, you guys can't talk around the thing you're trying to talk around. You are failing at that. And then having him sit there and eat and absorb a bad pipe bomb or dress up as a rapper and stumble bumble. So there was a lot to remember. I could be generous and I could say there's a lot to remember. And
It's his job.
And you can't do this. But it is his job.
It's his job.
And so much of his value is wrapped up in his ability to land those amazing lines. Punk is so brilliant at this back and forth that WWE made the norm for how you tell stories. Premise establishment.
To be fair, this is what I would be like if Kenny Omega did something
This
bad.
is literally the longest we're around.
But I was sad for it, right? He's so brilliant at the back and forth because he sort of makes you forget he's doing it. We don't get half the back and forth in AEW like we did with Punk and MJF. He brought that kind of trope to that, and it was incredible. It was piss poor. Delivery, content, execution, how he looked, how he seemed to feel in himself in that attire. Cubs jersey in the backward baseball cap was great, I thought. But, like, that was, again, him trying to, like, get out of the situation he found himself in. Well, Chicago stuff, so I'm still me. You don't look comfortable in this at all. It was 2 weeks in a row the weakest he has looked in WWE. And I don't care about... We have fun with PDS, but I don't care about when there's no pop, when he references the Young Bucks or Jack Perry. I'm not asked about that. We've always said it. The fiction is the best bit. And here he was, trying to live in the fiction, trying to just embrace the fiction and get through it, because the match is going to be over on Saturday. And he couldn't do it. CM Punk failed at something. The whole deal of like, oh, CM Punk's going to cut a promo on Raw tonight. Well, great. Raw's going to be brilliant then, because Punk will just hit a home run. He's swinging and missing out there over and over and over again. And it was so, like, disappointing. It's like you couldn't sell me your shit, buddy. Like, you couldn't polish the turds. And it was quite bleak an experience to watch. If you like him.
So CM Punk grows up a fan of Rowdy Roddy Piper. He initially takes his first furtive steps into professional wrestling as a part of the Backyard promotion. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say that this was hilarious. It was very, very funny. If I'm CM Punk in that building after those words were said, dressed up like that, after cutting that promo, / doing that rap, and I'm retreating up the entrance, I have to think he's thinking, God, it was better with Eddie Kingston, wasn't it? Like, he must, like,
It was better with Drew McIntyre, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's, like,
the weird thing with Punk is just how much he knows deep down. I'm sorry, this is my wrestling fan wrestling take, and I know it's not popular in these walls. He's so much better at the better stuff compared to like this. Like this is like OTT heightened, really like just broad crap character work, and he's must have gone up that ramp and said, "Fuck, that was awful. That was awful," and he must have felt the sting of humiliation retreating up that ramp, knowing, hell, how did it come to this? I mean, that might be a little bit histrionic. One of those thoughts is more likely to have passed his mind than, God, that was great, and I'm great. Knee chance. When I heard the thugonomics, that's not how it sounds. And I saw that they got him a little Punk Live Tron, like it was, Isaac's in here, we're going to score. It was, this is going to be like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, there's absolutely no way in hell. Obviously, so Punk Life, right? He's going to dress up. Oh my God, he's going to do a rap. If he'd done like a 10 out of 10 rap, okay, I still think it probably would have been a bit embarrassing for him from the perspective of like.
I disagree there because I think that's his point. He's like, watch me do everything. Watch me do everything and anything and be great at it. That would have been, I kind of think, like a worse nightmare for yourself because the dress up would have been forgotten and it would have been like, Christ, he's nailed it. What can't he do? How has he polished this turd?
Yeah.
And I think his failure to do that was all of a sudden you step away from it. It's like, look at this guy dressed up like a
He looked like an idiot. He looked like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
All right, I want to bury it. Please let me do this.
Sorry.
So he comes out, the scowl, the face. I would argue, right, that the actual idea, before he completely embarrasses himself, right, the actual idea behind this was pretty dumb. The parody angle has been around for decades at this point. It works best when you're Kevin Nash, basically. When you are Kevin Nash dressed up as Arn Anderson, and Kevin Nash puts more effort into his prosthetics and making himself look unrecognizable than he had done in, I would say, a single WCW main event.
Yeah.
Just preying on the psyche and insecurities of this uncool old man who you're meant to be playing heel opposite, but he was 45 years old when he was 16. And you're making him look like the oldest guy in the world. He's probably
Arnold's
younger.
39 by then. Ancient. He was finished, wasn't he?
Was he 39?
39.
He's my age.
he looked about 50 in Dunsky.
Yeah. So you're preying on the insecurities. It was the psychology. I hate using that word generally, but I don't even know if it makes sense here. But the idea really behind this was to have a laugh at John Cena or to be better than John Cena. What I don't even know what we were going for here, other than, you did a pipe bomb last week, so we'll mind the past. Why? I don't know.
Why would he be offended at that?
What exactly? That's what I was getting
yeah.
at. Why would John Cena be offended by like, oh my God, like this cool character that I myself will bring out to make TV a bit more interesting every now and then, that everyone kind of thought was cool at the time, even though it's aged horrendously. Why would I ever be insecure about that? So you can scrub that off. The point of all this is the point where John Cena's going to come out, CM Punk's going to come out as John Cena, Doctor of Thugonomics, and go, I'm going to do this better than you. Like, John Cena is quite great. No, he's not, because there's levels to this. John Cena is very, very good at that freestyle, I can think of things and insult you. Like, I've seen footage of him do it where you think he's finished. No, he's not. It's a fan does it to him. He does it back to a fan. Don't go and watch it, by the way, if you're quite of a delicate disposition, because there's some ugly stuff in there. It was John Cena in 2003 or wherever, and I think he's done. No, he just goes and goes and goes and goes, and this guy's just blown away, right? I'm done. I'm just enjoying John Cena kicking my ass in a battle rap now. And you think it's done, it just goes on. This is something this guy has been doing, like, as a passion, and then it informed his career for years and 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 years. CM Punk would have practiced this and known it was a working plan for, I'm telling you, 6 months. He'd still be nowhere near to being able to do what John Cena could do. I just couldn't fathom that this was even happening. It was so surreal that he came out. I was like, there's no way. As soon as he came out, Punk Live, I was like, he's going to fail dismally at this. Even in the best case scenario, and he just nails this rap and it's really funny, it's still not going to be like as good as like the best John Cena stuff from years and years ago. Again, I don't like the material at all. He was quite incredible at it. The face, he looks like an idiot. It's when he starts doing that kind of hip-hop voice a bit, where I'm like, oh my God, Murphy's at the back post and no one can catch up with him. It's going to be a tap in with 4-0 up. As soon as he's got a little bit of PDS, and I think CM Punk needs knocking off that perch, and, well, he has. The actual content, before you even get to the delivery, was horrendous. That's why we fired. That what was it like? No wonder you want to leave when they just rehired your ex. Like CM Punk has had intercourse with several of his co-workers over the years, and like a grown-up, they've just split up and went, right, fine, of course we can work together. You don't work with people that you like all the time. Luckily in this room, that's completely different. Yeah. Most of the time. Mackle less rhythm. What? The bit where it's like, this is the one promo. Because CM Punk, he bumbles, I would say, 1% of the time. This is the one thing you can't do. It's such a massive swing that you have to get it perfect. Otherwise, you already literally look like a joke. The hip-hop voice, it completely fell apart when he was doing he tried to say, Batista's a better actor than you. I completely got it wrong. I could scarcely believe that this happened. I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did.
Do you remember he just forgot where he was up to in the SmackDown one the other week?
Yeah.
Program,
he's in his own head.
This one has defeated him. It's chipped away at that veneer.
Because he can't say anything. No, he can't say out.
He might not.
This was his promo. His promo performances were doomed the second this idea was floated to him. He's probably been in his own head thinking, oh, what do I do? Yeah. How can I sell this? How can I be CM Punk? How can I bring my best to this when I don't believe in it? And I'm gotten to, whether he likes to think of it or not, or whether he claims he's online or on Twitter or not, he is. Yeah. He is. He's been must have been living in his own head for like 3 weeks at least, and he's just completely botched it. The good news, to tie somewhat into the review of the show that we're actually going to do, is that I think he emerged as an in-ring worker from this with a big degree of credit, I thought.
As well, I was just going to say, to add to your point, because you're not one of these particular critics, a lot of critics of CM Punk don't get that it's not about CM Punk or Phil Brooks' credibility. It's about his performance of credibility. And that's what...
of course,
you get that, but loads of people don't. When his credibility is yet again shattered by his hypocrisy, people go, see? The Punk. No, it's never about that. It's just about his performance and his work of credibility. And this was where that fell away across this thread.
I would use that argument to say, oh, God, where's CM Punk's credibility? I would say the same thing as he was one of the very best workers of all time. CM Punk was a hardcore professional wrestling fan and a punk rock guy who seemed to have values once upon a time. Maybe he still does, but he just picks and chooses when he believes in them or when he feels them. He signed with WWE in 2005. He sold out then. If you want to be a total prick about it,
beefing up in Ring of Honor, he was like, you could
it's not
see
just
him
that.
morphing into like he wanted to go to WWE.
Yeah, he wanted to go to WWE. I understand it's different then because there wasn't an AEW then, and there was like, if he wanted to make money from it, and I would never begrudge a professional wrestler that. But if he was so principled, like really as principled as he always purports to be, he wouldn't have signed there in the first place. Yeah. He wouldn't have stayed there as long. He wouldn't have re-signed in the first place. So when everyone says, oh, it's against his ethics to go back to WWE, it's like, it was against him in the first place. This is a completely by-the-by point. Tangent. CM Punk tangent, if anything. Like, he sold out his principles in 2005, if you want to be really pedantic about it. So he's still the best worker of all time in some respects. The fact that people will say to this day, can't believe what he's become. welcome to 20 years later, realistically.
Yeah.
Just the fact that people still conflate the performer and the character is a testament to that unbelievable character work. What was the first match? Sorry, what did you think?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah, you like it?
It's not that serious, bro. I just enjoyed it. Like, I had a good time with it.
After 20 minutes.
And I, as I said, though, I did watch it in the wrong order. So I watched the brilliant main event and then went back, see what all the moaning was about. And I just had a good time, basically.
Okay. So let's talk about scale.
Welcome to a critical analysis podcast.
Scale and standards. CM Punk, Eddie Kingston go face to face.
Yeah.
Remember, the best thing that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I prayed for this and it happened.
Yeah.
And things of that nature. So that's all top tier. Like Punk, like his best, like the stuff with Jeff Hardy in 2009. This Punk life was like, I'm talking miles below sea level. Like a catastrophic implosion of a promo, miles below that brilliance. How far lower would it have to go?
I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was as bad as you put it.
Oh, it was rubbish.
Oh, how much worse would it have had to have been?
Yeah. For you to finally say it was bad.
I thought there was some good lines in there. I thought it was just, I was like, oh, that's a funny way of flipping on the head of you. You do the pipe bomb, I'll do this to you. I want to take this from you and stuff. And I was just, like I say, I was coming off the high of watching these two, amazing guys working together, getting into that. So I just enjoyed it for what it was, really. I don't really have any more
of it. I think disposition goes into this a lot. His life's WWE.
Yeah.
My life's work is to bring this man down a peg.
Yeah.
You're just so much more easygoing than us.
I was trying to have a good time with everything, really.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Nice.
Let's get into
nice, isn't it?
Night of Champions.
I wish I was more like him than me.
I do anyway, but yeah.
In my mind prison.
King of the Ring kicked it all off. It was, of course, the final. It was Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Match of the night?
Match of the night and just one of my favourites of the year. I just thought this was gorgeous in its like total simplicity that is good, as opposed to the simplicity that defined Randy Orton's career pre-2023. I cannot even explain, and God, I've tried, why Randy Orton has become one of my favourite wrestlers in this run of his. I don't know if it's a crowd connection that I actually believe, as opposed to the one that was being screamed at me by commentators for really until RK Bro, probably. Like, all these sports entertainers from the ground up, Viper, like the best guy, the new cerebral assassin in a way, the sequel to Triple H. I was like, well, the first one was awful. They don't have to lie. They are, like, Randy Orton is showing.
Is it because maybe people thought, oh, we almost lost him?
An element of that. And I think because we're in this new...
He wasn't going to die. He's just seen as a worker, yes.
We're in this new era of living legend where wrestlers are wrestling to an older... It's good, right? It's because of the way they've taken care of their bodies, or they've been able to make choices about the vices of the industry and take different paths. Orton was doing it in his younger days. He's pulled himself away from that. And, like, I think now there are a lot more... You're going to see a lot more legacy runs like Randy Orton's. And you can only hope that it plays out like Randy Orton's instead of John Cena's. People have been around a long time but have earned that. Somebody asked us a question at Q&A about The Miz, and I was like, it is nothing to do with The Miz being a bang average, below average wrestler.
Below average, come on.
It's just...
He's well below average.
Below average. It's just a certain loyalty to certain people with certain traits on the idea of, I've never seen them, and they've meant something to me at some point. Randy Orton's got that for a lot of people. Like, you couldn't deny what level of a star he was, even if it was easy to not enjoy his work or be bored by it. But it's all sort of come together at the right time. I think it's the right time in WWE's history for him to be this kind of Randy Orton. Fans are super, super engaged with a bunch of different wrestlers. And for the most part, it's like the newer guys that they're in with right now, your Cody Rhodes, your Jey Usos, your Gunthers, Judgment Days, whatever. Randy Orton, to this audience, it's like a sort of Undertaker figure, but that can still go and has a theme that you can sing along to and has one of the most over finishes ever. You know, there are so many reasons to buy into Randy Orton, the presentation now, that yes, when his matches slow down or when he kind of adopts that Randy Orton style, it's actually taken on a life, as opposed to nearly 20 years of boring Randy Orton. When he slows
Randy Borton.
That's very good.
You know for a fact you've read that 24 years ago.
When he slows it down, or he's having to sell as a babyface, the fact that atmosphere greets this just makes it sort of captivating to me. When he's selling, he's actually selling to an audience that wants him to recover. He is, for the first time, like in this last 18 months, Ricky Morton in through the screen, and you are actually returning the hand rather than, get away from me. Like, or as a heel, like, which he's not been yet, but when he's on offense, people are like, Orton's got him here. Like, when he lines up that draping DDT now, the building is like, well, that's curtains for the babyface. The top babyface of wrestling, Cody Rhodes, is not going to recover from this move that's been a transition hold for 15, 20 years. Cody's work on the back. Right, and this is the point when we talk about simple and throwing it back a bit and all the stuff that we've been hitting quite hard this year about wrestlers just being themselves. Me and Sidge on Best Match Ever, still available to watch, talk about Cody's, like, one of his masterpieces against Dustin Rhodes at Double or Nothing 2019, and how I can understand why Cody Rhodes believed he had the ability to pivot between heel and babyface effortlessly, because when he gets it right, it's fantastic to watch. He couldn't, ultimately. The AEW run proved that you can have to pick a lane and stick with it. But in little moments, in singular matches where it makes the most sense, where, yet again, the formula is not too dissimilar if you think about it. A guy that was once his superior and his mentor that he knows he has replaced, ultimately, and he has to beat him because, sorry, mate, this is my time, not yours, nothing personal. Something as simple as Randy doing himself in with a superplex on the back and Cody thinking, well, I've recovered from this and I will recover faster because I'm younger and stronger and better than you now. And maybe I'm better than you ever were. That was the mistake that you made.
Bend your spine around the ring post.
And what a choice, because it's not even, he didn't cheat. It's environmentally icky that he's chosen to do it, right? So Cody Rhodes is not the heel in the moment. He's just like, you could probably keep it in the ring if you wanted. You look like you're trying to inflict pain there rather than go for the win. So it's just a spot as simple as that. And what keeps Cody Rhodes the babyface is that at the end, it's Orton that turns to desperation, believable desperation that you can buy, because he too has come to acknowledge that he has been replaced.
And he said as much on the SmackDown, and he said, I'll do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. He has always said, and what's brilliant about this, from the very beginning, a year ago, when he first eyeballed the belt in France, and we all thought, oh, that's very clever. Who could have possibly spotted he's eyeballed the belt? No, he turned up on SmackDown and he was like, Cody, I'm not shying away from this. One of these days, mate, I'm coming for that title. And it was to tee up that Kevin Owens was going to be the one that was going to do it like a bastard. Orton said, it's going to be me and you one day. I'm just being straight with you. And they've kept that thread alive. And then they have this match. And right when Orton has tried to hold his own on this and tried to, we're fair, yeah. Oh, you're a little bastard, actually. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do the chair in the turnbuckle.
He sort of almost, he hesitated on the punt as well.
Driven to it the whole way through, driven to it. Doesn't do it. And it's a total reversal of the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens thing from last year, because Cody has learned from some of the errors. He constantly talked about how he was ready to bear the weight of the title and bear the weight of being the top guy. And ultimately, he fell short when it mattered most at WrestleMania. And he couldn't follow through and hit John Cena with the title. He couldn't cheat. And somebody cheated against him. And that was it. So he's learned those lessons from Owens and from Cena. And it's one long story with Cody Rhodes as the quarterback of WWE. He's getting his ball back. So he wins. And that's what's sent Randy Orton back to well, I guess I'll try the Kevin Owens method then. And one of these days, I'm going to punt your head off and attack you from behind. Match, story, build, outcome, because Cody's back in that hunt and he's back in the title match where he belongs. I was flying off this. I just loved all of it. And Cody didn't wear the crown, which felt like a choice, didn't it? Like,
yeah, why would
neither
you?
wanted to wear the old crown ski.
It's an upper mid-card device.
This
and
is
he's
a purpose
clever.
for a title shot than a...
Yeah, he's clever. He's clever. Elements of this match I liked. I was kind of in two different minds, or maybe even three, about it, where you watch Randy Orton sell, and I'm so conscious of trying not to be one of these people. God, slow it down. Don't need no spart fest. Well, we kind of do, because there was one in this match towards the finish, so that was weird. It's just, I missed that. There was a substance to this. There was a self-assurance to this. There was an old-fashioned attempt to really hook you into this, which I had a lot of time for. And Randy Orton, in terms of his selling as a babyface, when he's Randy Orton, like gifted push after push after push, handsome, like massive, shouldn't have had so many chances as a WWE project. And yet when he sells, I'm like,
what body's underneath those muscles?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so that element of it was good. Very good at parts. Like there are few more convincing sellers in all of wrestling right now, or the two companies I watch, and there's only two companies realistically, Grove. You know what I mean?
About time somebody said it.
I just wish someone else would step up.
Yeah.
Come on, do something good, bold, interesting, whatever. So I'm not constantly in this culture war that we've kind of ironically walked into on this friggin' podcast as well. And yet I would defy or clap back at this. I saw a lot of that famous tweet where you want to get a tweet out, but you can't really think of much to say of it's two professional wrestlers having a professional wrestling match. Was it they lost the thread of what I actively liked about this match? There was so many. It's the RKO attempt. It's the crossroads. It's the cutter. But there's no finish coming. There's no finish coming. At one point, I'm thinking, if I'm watching a match between, of all people, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, two wrestlers who get it, like, if any wrestlers are like a bastion of a slow it down, make it matter style, it probably is these two, at least in the Fed. And then I'm just watching finisher, spam, kick out, and it's just like, has everyone forgotten? Has everyone forgotten how to do a match that doesn't have this? And this extends to AEW because, of course, it goddamn does. I just sometimes find that main event style, when you're doing this sequence, a bit more exhilarating than this and a bit more well-worked. And I will point to the example of the RKO from the Cody Cutter attempt. That was really egregious. Like,
Cody just flipped salmon leaping out the water.
Yeah, I mean, that was so contrived. Maybe that's sort of the trade-off of, I reckon Randy Orton from about 10 years ago could have really got him. But it's Randy Orton now, so you can't.
They do, and I get it as well. And it's been quite nice sort of seeing how my kids take to some of this stuff. And they went nuts for that. And then that's like an in-the-building thing, isn't it? It captures that sort of spark of a moment.
The audience, by the way, for this show was incredible.
It was a very hot crowd. Like, they weren't, that wasn't one of them sort of, you don't like those sort of performative crowd moments.
No, this was...
like, it was a low-key shocking or RKO compared to some of the bigger ones he's done. But I'm with you in that I was like, don't replay that. Let's just live with the fact that he's hit that. Oh, my God. And like I say, my boys are going, because they don't want Cody to lose. And I'm going to see a replay of that in a minute. You're not going to see Cody put his arms up for the cut. You're going to see him go, whoa,
hey!
Like that. It's like, it's the one thing nobody should talk about the Evan Bourne one. Is that Randy Orton basically lifts himself about 10, 12 inches off the floor and just goes, beep, beep. Like that's Evan Bourne doing a shooting star press into someone's sort of shoulder instead of body on body. But it's the camera always catches it well. They're very well directed and staged and blocked or whatever it is. And this was that until the replay.
Yeah. It didn't look good. I will say, did I have one more thing to say about this? Yeah, just if I was open a wrestling school, watch Tanahashi versus Suzuki from New Beginning 2012. Like, please. I mean, King of Pro Wrestling 2012. Like, they tasked them. We're not going to do a single near fall here, and we're going to have an amazing match. Like, I can't remember what old wrestling matches look like, and I was just sort of, as soon as I started going through that sequence, I'm done here. I just know it's not going to be the finish. I don't know why I think maybe I'm stressing this particular match because it was so close to being something better or something distinct. And then I think every pro wrestler in both the companies does it. And I'm like, I've forgotten. I was really removed from this match with that sequence. But when it was good, it was real good.
We then got the street fight between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. I thought Raquel looked a lot stronger than I thought they were going to make her look in here without the help of Roxanne Perez, who did obviously get involved at one point. I did like the bit as well when Ripley jump off a table and get caught by, or barricade and get caught by Raquel and slammed into a table. That looked good. Roxanne Perez showed up, but then got destroyed by Rhea on the outside with a suplex. Rodriguez sends Ripley into the ring post, corkscrew Vader bomb, tries to set up the table. It had been propped up in the corner. They're trying to send each other into it. And then it gets put across the top rope. I was slightly worried because I think one set of legs wasn't down to kind of hold it in place. But in the end, they both climb on top of it after Roxanne gets countered after Raquel gets countered trying to Tejana bomb. Rhea threw it, and there's a super riptide off the top to give Rhea the win in this street fight.
So in the first couple of minutes, I was ready to hate this because it was okay action, nothing particularly stand out. And then I think it was Raquel. It's not their fault, but they should have had a chat, and the gear designers, whoever's coming up with this, should have like changed one up because they had luck with them too. And then when Roxanne Perez came out in the same stuff, was less than ideal. I know maybe that doesn't mean stuff to some people, but I was just like, one is in white or something. I don't know. Like Jade Cargill, for example, looked amazing in white. Anyway, one of them had gone to the floor. It's why I can't remember, because I'm trying to think of the visual. And one of them went to get a kendo stick, basically. I have so little.
Raquel, because Rhea was in the ropes, maybe.
That's right, yeah. I have so little time for these types of plunder matches at the best of times. And I was just like, the action hasn't been that great. And now we're going for the Route 1 WWE weapons, and it's just this. And then, because it was a rope spot, and I'm glad you reminded me of that, because that was more affecting than I expected it to be, because Rhea was in one of those believable positions of vulnerability, and it's hard to get that on a Rhea Ripley, but Raquel Rodriguez is her equal in so many respects, and they played with that throughout. And I actually thought they were quite, not diplomatic, they were just patient and weren't over the top in the use of the weapons. From that point on, when the kendo stick is this like sort of alarm bell, you haven't got anything, have you? You're just going to hit each other and you're going to trade shots, and then that's going to be it. I thought they were quite sort of careful in how they laid out the weapon usage in this match. And it felt like a proper Battle of the Titans struggle. You don't, when it's monsters, you don't need to do, you can do, but you don't need to do body part work. You simply need to do energy bar stuff. And one person can make a desperation recovery, and then they're on offense. And then the other person makes one, and they're on offense. And it looked like Rhea has it done. And then obviously Roxanne Perez is then key. Raquel's still losing. So the way they factored it into the middle of the match rather than the end, I thought was quite inspired. And the physicality was super impressive. Like Roxanne Perez out there.
Laid it in, didn't they? Yeah.
Kicking ass and getting her ass kicked, which was vital because this Judgment Day thing requires Raquel to be completely on board with Roxanne. Like, she can't look like she's just outright betraying Liv Morgan. She's got to have a justifiable reason why she's like, she was willing to die out there for me. Maybe Finn Balor's right. Like, why would you go on Finn Balor's side of things when you're Raquel and she's kind of been above all this? So they created the believable, convincing reason for this, which will play out on Raw, presumably. And then Rhea, now done with it, got the win without any of this feeling 50-50. This attritional fight ended with the bigger of the two monsters doing the biggest monster-killing move. Like, the referee was holding the table, and you get those things sometimes where the weapons don't play ball, and you see it when they're holding ladders, and it picks away at the suspension of disbelief a little bit. But, again, in sort of the same vein as the show, a pretty big over-delivery I thought this was.
I actually thought this was an over-delivery as well. Nothing that would remotely trouble Match of the Year charts, and WWE Plunder Brawls have got a really low ceiling because they don't feel that violent, and they're so familiar. And I think like it has to be truly deranged for me to be like so desensitized at this point. And it wasn't that. But if you can view it, it may be agreeable. If you can view it on its own terms and not dock points for not being like ultra violent or a frenzy or anything like a great weapons match or plunder match. If you can just go into it just with realistic expectations. And I know I'll be a hypocrite and say, all right, okay, well, that's a low bar. They cleared a low bar here. I thought this escalated in a pretty convincing, believable way. And I wish I could remember. When have I seen that table draped across the turnbuckle for the first time?
Well, probably Kurt Angle doing the angle slam to Shane McMahon.
Maybe that.
King of the Ring.
It's stupid.
Yes.
It's stupid. And I don't like it. And it's unnecessary.
And it was more of a board, which is probably wasn't a table.
Maybe there's an AEW match where they've done it. I'm like, I guess that's quite a good feat of balance. But what you're really doing is making life difficult for yourself and making the audience think that table's going to slip away, and you kind of just hoping it goes right. Totally pointless. So I didn't like that aspect of the finish. But I thought this escalated quite nicely. The whip stuff, like babyface moment of vengeance. One of the better table bumps I can recall in some time as well. Like, the sound that thing made.
That, didn't it?
The cover. The sound that thing made was great.
That was it. Sorry, I said the table.
Bridged like the gap in the announced area, didn't it? And it just.
I made a really satisfying crunch. That I had an all right time with it.
This could just remind me of a great table bump that not the bump at the end of the match. One earlier on in the match with the last woman standing where Nia just saluted and just fell off fell off the apron through Tiffany Stratton. Coming up next, though, we have
got questions which we'll get to as well.
We had Karrion Kross, our boy, versus a hometown hero, Sami Zayn. A lot of anticipation and excitement around this match because Karrion Kross can't bump, of course. And then he bumped all over the place for Sami Zayn, Blue Thunder
I
bombs.
was counting them.
Yeah, lots of
I
back
have some
bumps in there.
thoughts on this.
And I thought he put on a hell of a show. Really enjoyed it. The right person won. Obviously, Sami Zayn was always going to win here. But I did like the way he was sort of like lambasting. He was like smashing him in the corner and then shouting in his face.
There was so many goddamn dialogue. There was so much dialogue on this show. That's what the wrestling's for.
Right. I'll do the match first, and then just a quick thought on Karrion Kross bump gate. I didn't like the match. I did
because he lost.
Yes, but also other reasons. I did appreciate how it was probably the most effective in years. The wicked cross drag.
Oh, yeah.
Sami Zayn selling that actually had me on the hook. They're going to go with a pass out. Sami, we've said this before. He occupies that amazing space where he could be challenging them for the world title next week, and you'd believe him jobbing the week before. There's few like Sami Zayn in that.
Sami Zayn's great.
He is great.
He's got glimpses of his greatness here.
Yeah. Otherwise, like Karrion Kross is a sludgy pro wrestler. I'm sorry, and it's like it's the way everything slows down when he's on offense for long periods, and as a result, there wasn't enough of the match. I don't think it didn't keep the crowd particularly. There weren't it wasn't like when he would take a breath from lambasting Sami Zayn in the corner. The fans would then gasp at the end of it as if he's just delivered this incredible sermon, and now Sami Zayn's got to slap his way out of it or whatever. The Hoover kick, chasing him with a Hoover kick was quite nice. That was quite nice. What the bump discourse? What I don't know if this has probably been discussed and addressed 20 times over. When I was younger and watching Ric Flair for the first time, I wasn't thinking, well, he's a bad wrestler because he falls on his side. I didn't know that Ric Flair had been in a plane crash and he couldn't take flatbacks. I just saw a good wrestler. I just saw somebody that had worked me into being entertained by his work. It was no more complicated than that. Karrion Kross, not bumping, not doing many flatbacks, not having a prime era Roman Reigns light switch bump, isn't defining what makes him a good or bad pro wrestler. He can take everything on his good side for all I care. He can roll through on Hurricane Rana. It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with him being a boring wrestler.
So sludgy.
He's a boring wrestler. And the bumping stuff is one of the stupidest conversations to take hold in recent memory because it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't. Some people take amazing flatbacks, but that's not going to determine if they're a great wrestler or have great matches. And it is this week at least, it'll go away. But I wasn't counting, but I too was like kind of focused on it. And you're not going to suspend your disbelief much, are you? When you're going like, I fell on his side there. And going to like write it down or something or count it. It has consumed his work for the past few weeks when the conversation we should have about his work continues to be, it's just not good enough. It isn't good enough to sustain whatever push he is able to accomplish with his otherwise really funny and excellent promo work. And I have to I'll ask you, because I know you're just all the way in on Karrion Kross.
I like him a lot, yeah.
I'm asking earnestly, what was the goal all along? Sami Zayn punches him. Got him. Is this one of those situations where, like Lexus King, like, I got my pay-per-view match? I could just about go along with that. And then he's in Sami Zayn's face and he's like, you are a liar. You're a liar. Is this just yet again Karrion Kross doing a thing where in 8 months when Sami Zayn turns heel, Kross is like, I told you I'll tick to walk? Because it's not really worked for him yet, is it?
No.
Maybe he's a motivational coach trying to get him to win the title. Realizes he has to be cruel to be kind. You know, those football managers, sometimes you have the arm around the shoulder, sometimes have a bit of a pop at you, but they get results. So I think let it play out on this one.
All right.
I don't know how to approach this because it doesn't warrant so much conversation around what was an incredibly mediocre match.
What do you think Dave goes on this, by the way? 3.5 stars for Banner.
But you know what? I think he will. Like, he's forgotten what a bad match or a great match looks like. I mean, I wouldn't be sat in this chair without him, but come on, let's be real. It's so hard to approach this match because let's count the back bumps, right? Fucking hell. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing here? Like, I saw people earnestly celebrating, trying to rub the faces of the people who don't like Karrion Kross or the people who don't like WWE. trying to rub their faces in. See, he can do the first thing you learn at wrestling school, dickhead. So how good is he? I mean, what on earth are we doing here? But, I mean, the bar's in hell. And it's a joke. How this is the market leader, the most moneyed wrestling promotion ever. And they have conditioned a part of the audience, not all, but a part of the audience to expect and even brag about, sneer, rub your face in the fact that one of their guys can accomplish the first thing you start learning when you start attending wrestling school. I'm not being hyperbolic or facetious when I say this. The only analogy, right, is when I first started taking my son years ago into the garden, and he gets enough foot strength to be able, and accuracy to actually connect with the ball and put it in the little goal we've got. That's the first thing you learn. Maybe a bit of dribbling, but of close control. Other than that, can you hit that ball, my 4-year-old child, hard enough so it hits the back of the net? That's the first thing you learn on your journey to becoming like a footballer at like youth level, where you're good enough to join a team. And we are celebrating Karrion Kross's ability to execute a flat back bump. I feel like I'm going crazy in this wrestling dystopia, right? But that's the discourse, okay? And I fail at it quite often, but I look in that mirror every day and I'm still trying. I'm still trying when I look in that mirror every day to just park it. It is noise. It should be separate from the actual fiction. Okay, so parallel park button. The match.
My best button.
It's everyone's favorite button.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. I can't drive. Park. It was this match was just not very good. It was pretty sludgy. It was pretty boring. Like, if I didn't have any doubt whatsoever about the story, rather helpfully, it was screamed in my face, not for the first time that evening. The bit, right, where Karrion Kross is like in Sami's face, telling me, not showing me, telling me the story of the match, right, and then turning around and plodding along to the opposite turnbuckle to, like, in effect, this is what I'm meant to be thinking is happening. Galloping, nay, rampaging across the ring to blow him away with those big forearms. It's like, hell, it took him 5 years. It took him ages to be able to do that. You're meant to be thinking, oh my God, the big guy has got the little guy in a totally helpless position, and he's going to rampage across the ring and kill him. It's like, he can't really move very well, so I'm just get to the point where Sami goes to sprints back at him, hits a haluva kick. If he was a good, dynamic pro wrestler, right, maybe I would have got that gasp of, Sami's caught up to the bigger guy. Karrion Kross physically, athletically, is not good enough to tell the story they try to tell through that sequence. I didn't feel like Sami Zayn was in any danger whatsoever.
There's no explosion to his movement to make that work. You
need an explosive bone in your body to be able to add that peril or to make it impressive that Sami Zayn beat him in a duel of sorts. It's just bad.
United States Championship on the line next. It was Jacob Fatu and Sikoa. Vindication is how I feel with this match. My love for Solo has been evident on our SmackDown podcasts, and, well, as you called it, to be perfectly honest, Solo Sikoa left as United States Champion. Obviously, Jacob dominated for the majority of this match. We saw JC Mateo getting involved, as he has done, obviously, throughout this rivalry. And then when it looked like he'd been taken care of and Jacob had the match won, who should appear but a returning Tongaloa, who hit a picture-perfect spinning neck breaker out of the corner.
Didn't botch it.
No.
Huge.
I mean, that's what the bar is, isn't it?
That only gets a near fall though for Solo. Jacob Fatu did a big dive onto the people interfering, and hit his moonsault. Again, had the match won seemingly until he was pulled out by a debuting Hikuleo. now called Talatonga. That's real.
No, Cole said it was Tama Tonga Tonga.
Yeah, he goes, you know what that is?
So-
It's Tamatonga. That's Tangaloa.
Is that anyone?
He chokes.
Yeah, Talatonga sounds like, because originally it had 2 L's to trademark, is that correct?
I think so. Taller.
Tonga. I like how it's like, still if you're Bostonian, you can still go, hey, Talatonga.
He chokeslams Jacob Fatu onto the announce table. Sikoa hit him with the spike. 1, 2, 3. And Solo was patter on the post match as well.
I liked all of it. Yeah. Grown so affectionate towards Solo Sikoa. Like, they were saying Solo's army on commentary, so let's go with that for the time being. But it's just clown car bloodline continues to entertain for me. Solo looked great. He's got his new gear. Thought he looked tremendous. And then
that bit where he did I can't remember, his belly to back super. It was a suplex. He
Yeah.
chucks Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu obviously springs immediately straight back up despite almost landing on his head. Meanwhile, Solo just goes, with that.
he really liked
Patter, man.
doing the sort of the Jacob moves. That's his thing now. Yeah, Solo was so much fun. Like, he mimics the people he's facing. I'm into that. I'm into that 100% of the time. The action was substandard and it didn't matter a jot. The reason I called the Tongaloa interference as the disguising of the Hikuleo arrival was mainly just for the disguising of the Hikuleo arrival. What I didn't consider until I actually watched it playing out is I absolutely love the running bit, which they definitely made a bit out of last year, by the way, and I can only assume they're going to continue this bit. I love that it is canon that Tongaloa can't do a goddamn thing right. Remember that time when they won the tag belts and he held it up wrong? Like, upside down when he was holding one side of the belt. That had to be under instruction. Nobody in wrestling history has held a title like that before, but Tongaloa, is this anything? He makes his grand return, right? And the hoodie's half off his head before he can do his own dramatic career. That's funny. That is an accident. That's like a quirk of fate, because that's just what...
Quirk of crap.
That's what follows Tongaloa. The story here that, like, Solo's like, yes, right. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, Tonga, I'll see you Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. Yeah, we'll get him. We'll set him up. JC's like, oh, who was that? Oh, over at, like, Solo's Army HQ. Who was that? Oh, it's Tonga. He's coming back, and Jacob has no idea. So we're going to set him up. And JC was like, oh, great, we've done it, haven't we? And so I was like, well, is Tonga... Hikuleo, you're free, mate. Tonga's coming, but he's probably going to screw it. He's really ineffective. Like, so there's this like burial within a burial of these losers, these loser geeks who were sort of winning almost by accident. They're like, he's rubbish. Hikuleo, you're free because he probably won't help me win it. But then they're all celebrating. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're the best. And
you know your thing about people like only watching casually. I saw so many people being like, look what the bloodline's become. That's the point.
Yes.
All the good people have left.
I think you mentioned the NWOB team, right?
The B-line.
The B-line. Yes, the B-line, right? The idea that Solo thinks, everything's fine, actually. Like, could not be further away from any of that. They are a joke.
And now anyone who shows any sort of ambition or talent in that group, he's going to be like, you're going to be leaving me?
The paranoia is there. Jacob Fatu, I assume, either beats Solo, and I mean kicks his ass for that title to get it back at SummerSlam in some very, very satisfying babyface catharsis. Or, as we've talked about, this is just what was going to be the narrative reason to bring Jimmy and Jay back together permanently. It's for them to sort of solve that problem for Jacob so they can all shake hands and go about their business separate. And that is virtually a squash because these are geeks and this is Jacob Fatu and the Usos. That is going to be this reminder of stars, people exist to build stars. I like this. This is like good undercard, like putting your chess pieces in the right order, booking. I was really into this.
Total slop. I'm going to say one nice thing about it, but let's bury it a little bit first, right? Okay. If we go with Solo Sikoa is the honky-tonk man with some muscle.
Yes.
Then we can completely excuse things because the counter-argument to be, they're clowns, they're idiots, he's also the United States champion. But if he's just honky-tonk man with some muscle and a bit more of like the self-awareness, I'm an idiot, not as strong as him, but I'll get him with my... And like the idea is meant to be Jacob Fatu, who's a moron, which I wouldn't necessarily go with. All gas, no brain. Jacob Fatu. That's not very good.
They're playing a bit fast and loose with Jacob Fatu at the moment. I will say that. He's too good. He's a bit undeniable, Jacob Fatu, because if you look at his babyface turn,
They are flanderizing him.
Sometimes he's a monster. Sometimes he's super switched on. Sometimes he's like the ice cold, calculated killer. Sometimes he's like, wow, I never could have seen that coming. They sort of make up as they go along with him. But he's so
I think he
good.
just has to come to the right realization, because he had that moment with Jimmy on SmackDown, didn't he? Where he was like, thanks for the help, but I don't need it.
We're not.
He's going to realize he needs it with this.
So maybe that's it. Maybe the character needs to learn, but it does feel a little bit fast and loose at the moment.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
all gas, no brakes, 2-minute dramatic monologue, chin log. Do you mean that was awful. They're having it's bloodline pilled brain stuff, which I just cannot stand anymore. They are having conversations. They are having these are honest to God plays.
Who I appreciate it so much.
Indeed, yeah, theatre and performance background, but they are literally doing plays, bad plays, I should mention, terrible plays. Terrible plays.
You go back to you are at university.
I never loved you.
You were my family in the university years.
You're in my way.
You're in my way in life because you're an idiot crowd. So I'm gonna have to tell you this and make it explicit.
We shared halls of residence.
But like this, I never loved you. I always hated you. I never loved you. God, it's pathetic. It's drivel. It's slop drivel. I will say, good news. Solo Sikoa did the coolest thing he'll ever do in his life, and he did it by accident. That
sounds about right.
That suplex, right? Dumped him on his head.
Yeah.
Even I will say, though, right, that they didn't even do the good bit long enough, where Solo Sikoa honestly should have luxuriated in the mimicking. By the way, that is the easiest heel trick in the world, and everyone does it too much on wrestling TV right now, okay? But anyway, I digress. He could have done that and built that joke for ages. Maybe Jacob Fatu could have just looked around and said, he's still doing this. Does he not know I'm behind him? I'm going to kill him. I would like to milk that a little bit more, okay? What is... Pop quiz, gang. What is the first thing, and I'm literally saying, the first thing that Hikuleo does on WWE programming? What's the first thing he does? And how did I not see it coming? It's a monologue. It's dialogue. He starts talking to Jacob Fatu before he kills him. Just kill him. You're fucking 7 foot tall. You're not going to be in the next fucking A24 film directed by Ari Aster. Just kill him. You're 7 foot. That's your job. He starts talking. Oh, fucking hell. Solo Sikoa doesn't amuse me. I've got one nice thing to say, I promise. Other than the accidental good suplex, which was botched, but it was still pretty sick. I'm sorry. Solo Sikoa, his thing where he'll mimic other wrestlers. Every heel does that. It's fine. Where he'll tell a terrible joke and then go, I know you love it, and I don't not believe you.
It's funny.
It's awful.
Well, that is one word.
Stop. Got him. I find it. You are awful.
So just to clarify, then, just so you're saying going before a joke. That's all right, but obviously
Solo
after the
Sikoa
joke-
starts telling dirty blue jokes. I'll probably find it funny, right? I will say the little decoy.
Sorry, blue solos really got me. Sorry, carry on. That's funny.
I will say the little trick they played of put that useless twat Tangaloa as a decoy. That was quite clever. That was quite clever there.
Must be such a cool job in wrestling.
So he's getting
I'm shit, me. That's what they want me to do. That must be such...
hundreds of thousands of dollars to just be terrible, and they don't even trust you to. They do not trust you to wrestle on SmackDown. That's how bad you are. And then you're getting paid 6 figures for it. What a life.
The memes online that drop that, that supercut set to, is it set to outstanding, where, Solo, Tonga's just doing his awful stuff in Nuge. And then, it's like somebody in WWE saw that video and went, yep, that's exactly what we wanted. It's quite brilliant.
Let's move on and talk about the Queen of the Ring final. It was Jade Cargill versus Asuka. You've already mentioned Jade Cargill's amazing Storm outfit that she came out in. And she is Queen of the Ring, defeating Asuka, countering the Empress Impact with Jade to get the 1, 2, 3.
I'm just sold my stock on Jade Cargill.
This is the best it would ever get to her.
Sean Catter, by the way, I will mention some comments here because we haven't got a great deal of time. So sorry, a bit late to the stream. So you might have covered this already, but do you have to accept that Jade is a failed experiment at this point?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They will proceed with it. And aura, look, I don't even know what you classify it as at this point, will go so far. And there is a story to tell with Naomi, and they will see that through. I firmly believe that. I even think they might still see through a Bianca Belair singles match and just have a look at that. Like, they will think, they'll keep saying, it's not the last chance. The last chance will be this. The last chance will be this. Bianca Belair could even be like WrestleMania, depending on how Jade Cargill moves up the roster, even if
that goes as well as possible. Even if that goes as well as possible, this prospective Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill match, and it's really fun, and it's bombastic, and Jade looks the part for once. You could have put anyone in that slot and not wasted 2 years. Do you know what I mean?
Roxanne Perez wrestled herself on Raw. Asuka tried her best but didn't do as good a job. This was poor. It never really got into any kind of gear. It never really...
No one cared.
No one cared in the building. I was trying to, and this is the point, you're trying. My kids were looking at screens at this point, and it wasn't the big telly. I was trying to buy into this. Wow, Asuka's so tough. Jade Cargill can't get a usual power game off, because that was the fairly simple story they were trying to tell. Like, Jade couldn't, I don't want to be cruel to wrestlers, but like, how can you not project Asuka beating the out here? It's one of the surely one of the easier. Like, Asuka's such a convincing killer that if you just go out there and look like you're getting killed until you make your comeback and you show that you're more powerful than that, nothing's easy in wrestling. But that's one of them. Like,
That's just a
bit of a night off tonight. Asuka's going to look like she's battering me, and that's all Asuka. And as long as I just stay put in place, sell the impact of it, really project, then people then feel my struggle, feel my story, so that when I can counter her, bang, jaded. People are going to, how is she sustained that? That was the fairly simple thread they were like pulling at, and you didn't get it. And I don't think she's ever going to be the it they want her to be. She's got all the stuff we've gone on about. She's got all the stuff she had in the Shaq match on night one in AEW.
Yeah. She's regressed, if anything.
Maybe, yeah.
She has regressed, if anything. I mean, I think that would have been very heavily rehearsed and laid out to make it can't fail.
The positive traits she brought, really.
What else can you say? She's got no instincts for this. Doesn't give me any pleasure. I always get the feeling she's quite nice.
Yeah.
She's not very good at this at all. And I've got nothing to say. Damning crowd reaction. But then, let's just move on.
Let's get to the main event of the evening then. John Cena versus CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship. We had Punk kicking out of 3 attitude adjustments in there.
Forgot what wrestling used to look like, man.
Punk put an STF on Cena, who managed to get to the ropes. At one point, Cena goes to get the belt. Full view of the referee. But that thing that they've sort of started putting in more and more of him maybe slightly regretting this huge heel turn that he's done in his final year. Means he decides against trying to attack Punk with the belt. Punk counted an AA into a GTS for a near fall. And then following that, Cena's going to do his shoulder tackles. Punk moves out of the way. Ref bump. He goes down. Punk hits a GTS, but there's no one there to count it. Punk waves to bring a referee out. And instead of that, Punk almost had to fight a smirk on his face when this happened. Out comes Mr. Money in the Bank himself, Seth Rollins.
Worst one, yeah.
Jacob Fatu. Yeah.
Now just imagine him in the vinegar strokes.
He comes down. He comes down with Paul Heyman, Brand Breaker, and Bronson Reed. Punk gets into it with Breaker and Reed. They slam Punk through the announce table. And Seth is all ready.
I thought he was deed at one point. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, when he dived out of the ring, there was a rough bump in there.
A bump off the dive, and then the double choke.
Up you go.
And it was just a trick of the light or something. But I could see this bright red streak briefly on the side of, I think it was Braun Breaker's head. And I thought, like, because everything's got so
Thought it was
clustered,
CM Punk going to the heavens.
just booted him in the side of the head or something and like kicked his ear off or something. It wasn't. It was just put in a split. I was like, yep, every element of this has gone as wrong as it possibly could have.
I think my favourite part
Oh my god.
has to be poor Charles Robinson doing his run from WrestleMania
24.
24. Running down the ring, wham! From John Cena, he's taken out of it.
John Cena and Charles Robinson have got more chemistry than John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
So true.
What are we doing?
There is an attitude adjustment to Rollins from John Cena, who's now fighting the invading person. He's trying to cash in, obviously.
Charles Robinson went flying.
He went absolutely
So good,
bloody
man.
flying.
So good.
Breaker and Reed attack Cena, but don't worry, here to make the save after he's done his little dance is Penta. I like the fact because I was like, here we go, usual, like you say, the usual archetype of like, oh, I'll stop him, boss. Knocked out. Braun Breaker was like, no, I will legitimately just stop him because I'm Braun Breaker. Sami Zayn makes the save. And then they sort of brawl down the side of the entrance ramp, and Penta does a crossbody onto Breaker and Zayn to get rid of them. Reed setting up for a tsunami on Cena, but Punk pushed him off the top. Cena hit an attitude adjustment on Reed, which is very impressive, to be fair. And there's a lovely moment between Cena and Punk of like a handshake deal and the hug, and then we see the Cena face, which obviously we saw at Elimination Chamber. Tries to kick him low. Punk catches it, sets up for the GTS instead. Rollins nails Punk with the briefcase and then a stomp, and Cena throws him out of the ring and pins Punk to retain the WWE Championship.
So, yeah, the two strains of analysis here, and I'll try and quicken the first one because it's all rooted in sentiment. Thank you, WWE, because my kids will probably get out of wrestling.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And you write your local newspaper.
My kids will probably get out of wrestling. Just going to power through that. And this will be the best match they've ever seen.
When you email your relatives and
I didn't
tell
need
them why
to. I didn't need
WWE's
to.
good.
Two of them sat right there having the night of the lights. Yeah, they'll get out of it soon because it's just fad. But this was a dream for them to watch, and it was thus a dream for me to watch this through them. Like
the Tommy Dreamer thanking WWE. I know he hated that.
the-
I'm sorry.
It's too far. That is Thursday.
I know.
Come on, Sid.
I know. That's why I said I'm
That's some
sorry.
fun here, yeah.
That's why I said I'm
That's the things
sorry.
you can't take back.
I know. I can't.
We'll have a laugh, but come on.
I look forward to the DMs.
This was,
My boys, loving the show. Yeah, the match, they were like, entertained by the match. Like, Joshua, my youngest, is absolutely fucking livid with John Cena taking the belt off Cody Rhodes and lives and dies in these matches by
Right.
somebody stopping him. That has, kids, that has worked, right? Heel and babyface stuff, that. And he likes CM Punk. And Charlie just kind of likes being the opposition to Joshua, so basically
That's such a brother thing, isn't it? What do you like? I like the opposite.
just back John Cena
I
throughout.
like red deer. I like blue.
So yeah, basically that's all the near falls are hitting because they're just like, well, I hate you, brother. So like my guy's winning. 1-0 to me. If
What do
anything.
they feel when Seth? Oh, he's mine as well.
Well, this is it, right? So they've enjoyed this. I'm quite liking it, but I'm definitely liking it through them. But there are moments where I'm just like, there's the old magic. There was all these little moments like, this is what we kind of got at Elimination Chamber. It's being stretched out and elongated, but there it is. There's the only person that John Cena will have chemistry with ever again, clearly. And then all the Money in the Bank stuff starts, which you go back and watch I can't sit here and say I didn't like it. I loved it. I got most of it right in the preview. About
fair play.
Right down to the briefcase shot being the difference maker because it's Seth using that when he's realised the moment's passed and he kind of actually cash in. That's my kid's first experience of watching a cash in nearly happen, and it is blowing their mind. And what's it mean now? Can he still do it? I was like, well, yeah, like he's going to get a referee out in a minute. Look, here he comes running down. Gee, that referee's dead. So I was like, well, can he still do it now? Well, yeah, if one comes back. So just the chaos and the frenzy of it. And then I've told you both before, like as if it can't get any better. Who's been their favourite wrestler to start watching? Kind of. Penta. It's like, Penta's here. So like Joshua's up here. I was like, he's coming and all. Like they've just picked everybody one after another to just like send my kids into a talk friend. They're just going banana. So that's really, really, really fun. And then you get the finish play out as it does, and that's the match. And I've just had a whale of a time. But in the interest of this podcast and having a proper conversation, I watched it back the next day. And my thoughts were
Your thoughts were.
the
Get it right.
second half of the match, I still really enjoyed. The problem is that the problem isn't isolated to this match. It's the fact that they have had to attach bells and whistles to every John Cena match because he is not capable of fulfilling this role of being WWE champion and pay-per-view main eventer, right? So this is happening every month. It goes all the way back. was R-Truth in the Randy Orton match. It was Ron Killings and just the bollocks in general in the tag match. And now here we are. If there'd have been none of that, because you could actually trust John Cena to hold a match together, and this was the first time it was a bells and whistles thing, because now there's somebody with a briefcase who's a rival of one of the wrestlers, this was the perfect time to do it. But it feels like it was like the only way they were going to get this one done and get out of the match, like not really having if Cena was going to go, Punk wasn't going to win, so it was going to be Cena going over clean, if not for the bollocks at the end. But they've done bollocks every time because John Cena needs it. He requires this. And that was what was working against it. But if you actually go through and look at it all and look at who intervened and when and how Cena and Punk suddenly found themselves on the same side, the old guard, because you had to earn that hug and handshake moment, which again, by the way, Joshua goes like, Punk knows what he's going to do though, doesn't he? He's seen Cena do this to people. So like kids are able to infer that there is a way to be the smarter babyface because Cena's cheating all the time now. Like, they had to earn that hug and handshake moment to throw back to Elimination Chamber, and they got there by we've got shared enemies here. I've kind of helped you with this Bronson Reed situation. Can we just get back to the match? Because all of these bastards don't want either of us to win. They're out for themselves. And Penta and Sami and everybody, that's folded into the Raw's main event that we've had from last week and this week, and it's kind of keeping the necessary people in the main event picture. So I thought, as far as like one of these Avengers, suddenly very familiar so much so that Sidge is panicking about the All-In main event.
Oh, God, don't.
I thought this was the time to do it. It's just a shame they've already kind of been relying on it for this.
It's every main event.
It's every main event since, well, look, the last time there wasn't, who was it? It was Cody Rhodes defending the title. The common denominator is John Cena, WWE champion, cannot do this. And on that, because I did enjoy the slower paced, their 10, 12 years older version of their best work. I did enjoy it at points. Friggin' John Cena teaching my kids about the secrets of the business more than a Channel 5 documentary by calling everything he was doing 10 minutes before he did it is out of control.
He's always horrendous. He's always one of the worst professional wrestlers ever.
And I liked this match. I desperately didn't want to think this over the course of this run, that it was John Cena, one of the worst professional wrestlers of all time, because I know I liked him. My memories can't all be lies, but God, he is awful when he's awful.
Like trapped in a nappy once upon a time.
Got an interesting theory regarding this from Eric Vasquez that I'll get to in a second, but your thoughts on the match?
I don't really have many, to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't really want to think about this sort of stuff ever again. I've got two prevailing thoughts. Thought number one, it was a gentleman's three that even I, with PDS, even I, post-fed in my heart, was like, they really had something. And they're reenacting it to a degree. At half speed, completely telegraphed. I think John Cena's catastrophic awfulness and then him sort of having something or approaching something with CM Punk is weirdly impressive. Like, I don't know if it's Punk or just this weird chemistry they've always
He's not doing
had.
it with Cody, is he? You know he's not.
No,
That's going to stink.
That's going to stink, but it's one of your directions, so I won't go too hard
God for them.
on it. I just, it wasn't Heroes of Wrestling bad. And even old son of a bitch like me think, you had something once and you're reproducing it to a degree. All right. Triple H thinking is funny in that smug way where he thinks he's the cleverest guy in the room. Road dog humping. A wrestler who isn't, there's a lot, a wrestler who isn't able to act unhinged, trying to do it. Michael Cole screaming his head off. It's like 4 great candidates for my Mount Ickmore. Like the ultimate worst, visceral, I can't do it, feeling in my stomach. Michael Cole screaming his head off. I hate him. On some level, I half respect it. How? When he sees a ref bump. By the way, I want to see the math calc and trig. I would never really ask explicitly for anyone to do this. How many ref bumps have I seen in a WWE PLE main event under the Levesque era, like percentage-wise? Because getting new refs. How are we still doing the ref bump? Every single time. It is awful. I almost respect Michael Cole for being able to act like it's a shocking development. The one thing we didn't want to happen for the sanctity of this match has happened again. How does he... I mean, I know how he does it, really. He just screams with no real authenticity or indignation or passion or whatever. He just screams, no, it's a ref being bumped, or whatever he says. Like, how do people go, oh my God, the ref's being bumped. Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I can't. It's just total slop. Like, I often have this thought, and I used to say it a lot on the pods when McMahon was in charge, and it was a disaster. I find this equally contemptuous of the audience, by the way. But that's a different story for a different day. Too long a story. When they're sat in the room, do the writers not just like when Vince is doing, oh, we're going to do this, just look at each other as if to say, he's lost it. How do we sit here and go great with that straight face and not wanting to die on the inside? Do they look around each other and go, it calls for a ref bump? Do they not look at each other and think, God, should we do something else? Because this is every single time. Or do they like think it's a great idea? Or do they just sit there and go, more ref bump slop for these idiots? Do you know what I mean? Like, how is it when the word ref bump is pitched? Is there any self-awareness in that room whatsoever? Is there any kind of like, oh, they'll never see this coming, like joking amongst themselves that they're doing it again and that people will fall for it in the buildings? I can't see another ref bump as long as I live. I'm sorry. Let's get to the questions.
I watched this and thought, maybe I'm going to like the John Moxley match at All In. Finally going to like a John Moxley match because, yeah, I really like the mad all interference spots. I was like sat there watching this going, obviously the WrestleMania 40 main event is my favorite match of all time. All time. No question. No difficulty there. It's got my favorite wrestler in it. It's got a couple of my newer favorite wrestlers in it. And it's just got like pop, spot. And preceding that, two men who work phenomenal matches together in Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. My previous favorite match of all time was
Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano.
With loads of like interference from the Undisputed era. So now maybe I'm going to be like, Paige Mox, I think, might be the greatest match of all time. But we'll see about that. But I really enjoyed it. But yes, I've got lots of questions about it. With regards to shout out to Matt Rains, by the way, who says, happy Monday, guys. I said enough on X Saturday about this show. I'll just listen to the best podcast to break it down and give their thoughts. Cheers, lads. Well, we have been described previously by MJF as
one of the only professional wrestling podcasts that's actually worth a
But Eric Vasquez, great first name, Eric, says, hello, guys. With John Cena being absolutely washed, do you think the heel run was actually planned to preserve his true send-off as a babyface rather than running his whole tour as a face and him stinking away the support?
That's not a terrible idea at all. In fact, it's really quite inspired. Really quite inspired. I don't think it's as cynical as that, even though I'm very cynical as well. But even if that was not the deliberate tactic, it might work out well for them. I shudder with dread at the thought of John Cena emoting the idea that he could be redeemed.
Oh, I know.
And it's all a complete waste of time because they're just going to chant, let's go Cena, Cena sucks regardless, but a not uninteresting theory at all.
Yeah, very possible, and it was going to happen later, I think. I think they'd have gone a bit further with him as a babyface to make the heel thing look like he was just making mistakes and he was so down on himself that he wasn't going to be like selling his soul, I'm a baddie now. It was going to be, he was driven to it. And then there might have been a bit more juice in the matches and it all would have been shorter and abbreviated and everything, but instead we've had a run rather than a moment where he kind of flirts with it. So I think we were getting this, but it would have been a lot shorter and a lot less full on all the time.
Yeah.
Hi to Lee McVery, who sent us a couple of great questions. Thank you for this, Lee. Starts off by saying, Sidge, F, marry, kill, Kane, Cena, Triple H. I'll start with that, and then he's got a second part of this question.
Oh, God. I would marry... I keep a tidy home, or at least I try to. God knows it doesn't look it right now. I couldn't live in the museum of John Cena. I know it's a fictional portrayal, but whatever. I couldn't be married to John Cena. Triple H. Oh, God, this is the hardest question I've ever... I'd probably F... I'd probably Triple H. Just to see how big it is. Because he goes on like he's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Are you? Is it? Because if he's got this unbelievable hog, I'm thinking that's probably why you go on like you do. It would just satisfy my curiosity, so I'll do that. I would probably kill Kane.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was guaranteed.
Yeah.
So then by process of elimination, I'm marrying John Cena?
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, well, at least I have a tidy home.
Yeah.
Would you guys do end of an era Hell in a Cell for best match ever? I'm sure old Daxie and Cash would approve. Also, Grealish to the tune, says Lee.
Grealish to the tune. I've been in a podcast what feels like 3 hours, so I don't know. Unless something's broken, I don't know. I can't see. It doesn't fit the age profile or anything like that. I'd love to see it. I think he can be reborn, but I feel like we only sign or want to sign players in their early 20s. What was the first part of the question again?
End of an era Hell in a Cell for best match ever, season 2.
It has got one of the best near falls ever. I don't know if that alone is worth me watching it again.
I think me and Sidge had a early days working together conversation where you might not feel this way now. At the time, I think you were higher on those matches.
Yes.
About 6-7 years removed than I was when they were happening. I wasn't a big fan of them as they were taking place.
Yeah.
I'll
give Triple H this. That is one of the best near falls ever.
Yeah.
And his political reputation did so much of the heavy lifting and the drama. Of course, he would give himself this.
I'll say, I'd like to think, we haven't discussed this, I would like to think we'd get to a Triple H match one day on Best Match Ever.
You don't even like Cactus Jack?
But I like it.
I love it.
But it wouldn't be either of the Undertaker matches.
I love that leg wound that he has.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's infected.
Thick red, isn't it?
Aye.
Gloop.
It looks like it's coming off the bone. Looks like that's
See it
blood
getting stitched
sport.
back together.
Yeah. God, I love it.
Just some vague speculation online about Jack Grealish. I was just looking up there. Mark Lee Willis says, besides Adam, any WhatCulture members going to Forbidden Door and Sweet Chin Disco?
I'm in Crete, so rule me out. I'm in Crete. I'm going to be drinking cocktails from 10 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just not going. Don't fancy it. Like, I'd go to a Sweet Chin Disco if one was a little bit closer.
There's a WWE live show in Newcastle.
The Sweet Chin Disco afterwards?
No, because it's the same day as Forbidden Door, so we're doing our show in London.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, AEW.
Shut up, man.
/ New Japan / CMLL / RevPro, all ears.
But if you want to get tickets to the best wrestling club like that there is, dice.fm is where you need to head, as Mark has already done. Thank you for your question, Mark, as always. Tactical Penguin simply says, afternoon, lads. Another stinker from the Fed. No way.
Honestly, I can almost see when every move and story beat is coming and the action's not good enough and the wrestling's not good enough for those people who don't like WWE.
Steve O'Nick says, g'day, handsome gents. With Linda McMahon and Linda McManning, it got me thinking, who are low-key the smartest wrestlers? Queen Aminata is a strong contender, Val Venus a weaker contender.
Yeah, Nikki Cross is doing a dissertation.
Yeah. Like Britt Baker's a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, we bury her on these podcasts. Sometimes she's amazing, but it's probably Britt Baker.
Dentist, isn't she?
Yeah.
Paige was a teacher, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hangman Page, very intelligent. You can tell how much thought he puts into his craft. So Hangman Page, Aminata, Britt Baker, so irrational. You just hate him, don't you?
No, I you land on one side of that divide, don't you, really?
Yeah, you do.
Martin Brophy says, I'm late, but if you had... he's written Blood Games here. I think he means War Games. Bloodline War Games.
Blood Games?
It's a great name.
They put the War Games stuff back in the...
Blood Games sounds like friggin' IWA Mid-South doing it.
Yeah.
If you had Bloodline War Games with Solo and Fatu, who's on each team and why, says Martin. So you'll have...
I mean, can you imagine the Usos, Roman and Jacob versus the Clown Car?
That's what I want to see.
It's like the most one-sided war game. They actually let you have like a 3-on-1 advantage for the heels.
We'll start the match actually where there's just one of us in there, if anything.
Tongalo is the last one in the mini cage and you cannot get out. Bloody hell!
More talking than an Alan Bennett monologue.
Is
that Alan Bennett who did Talking Heads?
Yeah.
More talking than that.
It's hard to fantasy book that because it's just whatever the War Games is, it's not going to be that, is it?
No.
It's going to be Seth's
Seth and Punk, and oh my God, I could just take the next 4 months off.
Hopefully not Punk in it, but it's going to be Seth's group against somebody. Yeah, it's hard to look past Jacob and the Usos, and then Sami Zayn, I guess, like a linked baby face.
Yeah.
If you're going to link somebody to them. But the thing is, the point of this, I was trying to put this across in
And
the
then
match.
to stop Hikuleo, almost, obviously.
Of course,
we talked about.
the heels are not designed to be so threatening that you need to topple them in war games. Otherwise, the act sort of doesn't work. They need to be credible.
Handicap war games. We'll do 3 on 5. I'm not bothered. Win anyway. Final couple of questions.
Just
then.
Jacob. just Jacob. Starts
me.
never
The rest just watching. Final couple of questions then. Andrew DeBoss says, hey fellas, what AEW wrestler would have Cena's best match and what WWE wrestler would have Moxley's best match?
Oh. Which AEW wrestler would have Cena's best match?
Can I guess what you're about to say? Can we do one after you've thought about it? Can we do
Should I
one,
just
two?
rule out Kenny Omega and try and think of more interesting?
Yeah.
I reckon Darby.
That's what I was going to say.
Darby can have a great match with anyone because he's better than most at wrestling himself and bumping himself. Like, I think it's like John Cena's thing now. He's like a power guy and his stuff looks piss weak. And that's been his problem his entire career. But he could just, like Darby Allin said, just take every liberty you could possibly imagine with me and I will bump for you and I will make you feel like you're actually a strong man. So Darby for me for Cena.
I know it's 4 o'clock right now, but can we have a very quick game where you have to pick, do a stop and you have to pick one of the 3?
Yeah. Okay.
Really quickly. Okay, I have the AW roster page in front of me. So John Cena's next opponent in this Forbidden Door pay-per-view, Michael Sidgwick, is going to be
Step.
picking on between 1 and 15.
Tony, trim it down. When you've paid them, of course. Foul.
Danhausen.
Twist.
Okay.
It'll probably happen next bloody week. Stop.
1 to 15.
14.
Ricochet.
Nah, it's one of those where it's not interesting enough.
No.
There was some could have overlapped. Twist. Stop.
1 to 15.
5.
Indubitably, Keith Lee.
Oh my God!
Transaction.
It's the immovable object versus the immovable object. How does that even work? Find out on TBS.
Hamflett. We'll do your answer. So who do you think from WWE would have the best match for Moxley? And then we'll do the roster.
Like, they never did Cody and Mox, did they? That was one of those weird. So I guess that's something. Like,
I was just trying to
quickly cycle through. Like, in one sense, I think Gunther Moxley would be good because Gunther would make the Moxley style entertaining to me. Moxley would allow to be
Come
the
on, bro.
hard. No, this Moxley. Not
Okay.
Not 2020. Like, this would be the hard guy John Moxley match, but in a way that is less indulgent and thus boring. Because Gunther's kind of got it down to a WWE branded art at this point. So I would say, other than Cody, because they just never got there in AEW, and that's weird, Gunther probably.
But we're going through this is concluding NXT, the entire WWE roster page.
John Moxley.
John Moxley
I'm excited for
versus
this. Stop.
picking on between 1 and 4.
3.
Pete Dunne.
Oh, God. Oh, that's the worst match of all time. Skip. Twist. And get me away. Stop.
Picking on between 1 and 4.
1.
Michael Cole.
Better. Step in the right direction. But we'll twist.
Okay.
So we're stuck with this one, aren't we?
Yeah, you stuck with this.
Stop.
1 to 4.
4.
Carmen Petrovic.
Yep. All right. Blood sport could happen.
Yep.
Both Josh Barnett guys, those two.
Mem Birdman says, hello, legends. Is Cena speedrunning his entire career in 1 year? Hopeful start, overdone, and tedious middle before grudging appreciation at the end.
I mean, obviously not by design, but yes, when laid out like that.
I mean, I'll never appreciate him, grudgingly or otherwise.
I am dreading, I'm with Sidge, I'm dreading the, I'm sorry, guys. Like, his overacting thing that he does now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to miss you all. Like,
Because maybe I can be redeemed. Maybe I don't do that face. And he's like, when he's doing the hug face, he's going to do that. And then he's just going to go.
you can't see me now, but I'll always see you. Everyone's crying, but it's
Nah, I'll give it a toss. I would give it a toss.
I'll leave the final question. I mentioned him earlier. He had a couple of good questions. Lee McVerry finishes off here by saying...
Very good questions.
Says, favorite special attire? WrestleMania 23 HBK red and white crosses for me.
I need more time on this one. But now
Favorite special attire?
This is what matters the most to me.
They've all got special attire now.
Speaking of Shawn Michaels DX colours at Degeneration X in your house. Jesus.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus
They've scraped
Christ.
out the title and the business is theirs now, so everybody can fuck off. Love
Even
them.
me. Stu Hart.
You set for playing Degenerate. You called him that, didn't you, Brett? You called him a DX. DX generate.
Dad, I'm dealing with Bischoff shit. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm ruined.
Can you get the big rhino in the WCW, Brett? Maybe he could be with Hogan. Brett. Yeah,
See you later, Pop.
Sean was unbelievable for special attires in the night.
Yeah. I mean, attire is fundamentally overrated.
Bailey takeover Brooklyn in Sean's white and gold. Particularly nice when she won the title off Sasha Banks.
They've all got special gear now. That's my problem. They should have a home kit. Be disciplined. Have a home kit.
Not against that, because then the away kit's probably daft. One day I want to see Hangman Page in all white.
Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Like his home kit was the best.
Bailey wore a headband for a match against Asuka a year after Takeover Brooklyn, made out with Sasha Banks gear from Takeover Brooklyn.
Wow.
I like little stuff like that. She was in the crowd for it, and it's like my last night, so I'm going to do that. Kevin Owens' recent, what was it, son of the security guard. The Dusty Rhodes shirt, but for his own dad. I thought that was nice as well. There's millions. It's the best. It's the best thing about wrestling. So like we'll spend a bit longer on this one day. I'll give you 100 given time.
Do a podcast on it.
Yes.
Taped, canned podcast
I like the
ahead
sound of
of Wacky Summer, which it approaches.
Yes.
It approaches.
Well, like the list of Jericho, and it's like, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Hamflett go to town.
But thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you for all your questions. Let us know your thoughts on Night of Champions, either in the comments or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, they can follow all four of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at...
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at...
Sidgwick.
You can follow our brilliant producer, Adam Nicholas at...
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcast. The Raw preview to get you excited for tonight's Raw is available right now. We'll be back tomorrow to review Raw. But for now, this has been the Night of Champions review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.